It's hard to pin the Nissan Qashqai down into a particular sector of the market because it combines elements of compact 4x4, family hatch and compact MPV. What's really important though is that this crossover model works. It's spacious with the option of 7 seats, handles well, it's affordable to run and is cleverly thought out. Best of all, it's a family car that's anything but boring.
Is this the future of the family car? Nissan said it was when this Qashqai first arrived on the British market back in 2007. Its curious name, borrowed from an Iranian tribe, and wild lifestyle promises initially left some commentators a little cynical, but they soon got on board with the new crossover concept it represented when sales started going through the roof. If your favourite mainstream brand doesn't have one of these high-riding SUV, MPV style family hatchbacks in their showroom, you can bet they have one on their drawing board. Live for the unexpected was this car's original marketing slogan. Its sales impact was certainly unexpected for the opposition. Being first to market has its advantages, not only in terms of high sales, but also in the way that it enables you to stay one step ahead of the game. So in 2009, as crossover rivals like Peugeot's 3008 and Skoda's Yeti trickled onto the market, Nissan was able to move things forward yet again with a +2 7-seater option for this car. A year later then improved the whole product with a far-reaching makeover that enabled it to offer the same build quality and sharp driving experience as the opposition. Now this is a car that we're looking at here, a model attempting to prove to crossover customers that the original is still the best. The Qashqai, like all crossovers, is aiming to offer everything people like about butch-looking SUVs in a more practical and affordable family hatch-shaped package. So you get the looks, but none of the compromises you won't want to make if you never go off-road. So curbs can be mounted, but you'll need to leave the Serengeti to Ranulph Fines. Although you can tackle snowy driveways and muddy car parks if you pay the extra to have the option of 4-wheel drive. At the wheel it feels like a normal family hatch in which you just sit a bit higher. Nice! But trying to persuade a car that looks and feels like an SUV to handle like a car is no easy task. After all, conventional logic suggests that the taller you make a vehicle, and this one's 15 centimetres taller than your average Golf or Focus-sized family hatch, then the more it will roll. Still, Nissan's British Cranfield engineers clearly don't believe in conventional wisdom, for this car delivers its high stance and its supple multi-link suspension comfort without torque-responsive handling becoming a casualty in the process. Now, a Golf or Focus-sized family hatch would handle slightly better, but it wouldn't have this car's range of attributes, and it's a gap this revised Qashqai narrows still further with revised damper settings that improve both comfort and responsiveness. Even better news is that the brakes are strong, the standard 6-speed gearbox slick, and even the electric power steering is responsive. And refinement? Well, that wasn't really a strong point of the original version of this car, especially compared to something like a Peugeot 3008. But it's much better in this improved version thanks to extra sound insulation and an acoustic windscreen. Now, the entry-level 113 brake horsepower 1.6 litre petrol engine and the 104 brake horsepower 1.5 litre DCI diesel, well, they struggle to move this 1,437 kilogram vehicle along with much alacrity, but they're just about up to it. More relaxed are the 2-litre options, the 138 brake horsepower petrol and this 148 brake horsepower 2-litre DCI diesel. Now, either of these can be ordered with the optional all-mode 4-wheel drive system that can either be set in 2-wheel drive form, can be locked with drive going 50-50 between front and rear, or can be set in auto to shuttle torque backwards and forwards as required. It doesn't make this car into any kind of off-roader, there's not enough ground clearance for a start, but it would be nice to have in a snowy snap. So what do we have? A car that's between 10 and 15 centimetres taller and longer than a Focus or Golf-sized family hatch, but also one that's lower and shorter than a Freelander-sized SUV by the same amount. Now, the style of this car is really a tale of two halves. The bottom half SUV-like and butch, the top half sleeker and racier. Now, it sounds like a potentially disastrous aesthetic recipe, but penman Stefan Schwartz has pulled it off and managed not to spoil a good thing by going too far with the midlife facelift. So despite the fact that the bonnet, the front wings, the bumper and the headlights are all different, the overall effect is much the same, if a little bit more distinctive and upmarket. It's a look continued around the back, where there are subtle aerodynamic tweaks and LED lights. Overall then, still the best looking crossover model currently on sale, an accolade that somewhat surprisingly still holds true if you go for the 7-seat Qashqai Plus 2 model that I've got here. Now, the standard Qashqai was nothing like big enough for Nissan to simply chuck a couple of fold-out seats in the boot, so a complete redesign was necessary for this Plus 2 model, with an extra 135mm added to the wheelbase and an extra 75mm added to the rear overhang. One nice feature on this 7-seater that the standard Qashqai does without is a sliding mechanism for the centre seats. Now, that enables you to prioritise either your legroom or that of those behind, or your luggage, depending on whether the third row seats are in use. There's also a limited reclining function on the seat, and there's really reasonable room for 2 adults back here, or 3 at a pinch. It's an airy cabin, improved on this longer model by the fitment of this glass panoramic moonroof. At the wheel, the clever illusion of extra space continues thanks to the high seating position and ample headroom. Plus, it's easy to get a good driving position, courtesy of a height adjustable driver's seat and a steering wheel that adjusts for both reach and rake. Look around you and you won't observe the highest quality cabin in the class, but it's solidly built with detail improvements that include stuff like low-level lighting in the footwells and a revised instrument layout incorporating a smart LCD driver information screen in the centre. Nissan has even increased the roof height by 40mm in an attempt to convince buyers that these 2 rearmost seats are adult friendly. Sadly, that's not the case, though they will suffice for shorter journeys or the carriage of young children. And boot space? Not a strong point, though the 410 litres of the standard version is increased to 450 litres if you opt for this Plus 2 model, though that decreases to a pitiful 150 litres if you use the third row seating. Fold the middle seat down, however, either 60-40 or 40-20-40, and you'll find there's actually more space in the shorter model, 860 litres compared to 550 litres here. The high ride height means that you've to lift heavy items quite a way before you can get them in as well, but at least the convenience features have been well thought out. This Plus 2 version has an underfloor storage area to keep valuables out of sight and stow the rear parcel shelf. It also doubles as a cargo divider to stop your eggs getting crushed by your iron brew. Now, list pricing suggests that you'll be paying somewhere between £17,000 and £27,000 for your Nissan Qashqai, with a £1,300 premium necessary to move from the standard body shape to the Plus 2 7-seater body style. Now, engine-wise, you'll be choosing between the 2 smaller engines, the 1.6 litre petrol or the 1.5 litre diesel, or the 2 2-litre larger ones, a 2-litre petrol and a 2-litre diesel, with a £1,500 premium required to graduate from petrol to diesel in each case. Now, if you go for the 2-litre models, you get the option of the all-mode 4-wheel drive system that only 25% of Qashqai customers choose, and that's a £1,500 premium on top of the normal asking price. Now, as for rivals, well, it's difficult to be exact in terms of comparisons because the engine outputs aren't the same, but essentially you're looking at a car that sits price-wise somewhere between a Skoda Yeti and a Peugeot 3008. Whether you order your Qashqai with 104 or, as in this case, 148 brake horsepower diesel power, or you go for a petrol model with 113 or 138 brake horsepower, you should find it to be well equipped. All Qashqais come with air conditioning, alloy wheels, an MP3 compatible CD stereo, all-round electric windows and Bluetooth compatibility for your mobile phone. A desirable option is the Nissan Connect system, which combines audio controls, a USB interface, satellite navigation and a colour reverse parking camera in one unit. Safety-wise, all Qashqais come with front, side and curtain airbags. You get ABS, anti-whiplash head restraints and ESP stability control. Now those especially keen on reducing running costs will be attracted by a pure drive version of the 1.5 litre DCI that reduces CO2 emissions from 137 to 129 grams per kilometre and returns 57.6 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle. In contrast, the 1.6 litre petrol version delivers 15 fewer miles for each gallon of fuel and records 155 grams per kilometre of CO2. This 2 litre DCI version manages 44.1 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle and 167 grams per kilometre of CO2. Insurance groups range between 5 and 10 and residual values are about par for the class, actually a bit better than most mainstream Nissans. Urban proof. That's what this car apparently is, according to Nissan. It's an advertising strapline you can't quite define, but it looks good. The same, in fact, could be said about this car. Hatchback, off-roader, mini MPV. You can't quite pigeonhole it, but the end result is exactly what many families want. Here indeed is a fine option for buyers who'd rather not be saddled with a run-of-the-mill hatch or people carrier, and who don't want the clunkiness and cost common to even smaller SUVs. Now, other manufacturers have tried to copy this concept, but there's still a lot to be said for it in its original form, with class-leading versatility and good looks being Qashqai's strong points. The marketeers say that this car redefines driving in the modern world, but what it actually does is something a lot simpler. It makes driving something that the average family buyer can look forward to a lot more. And there's a lot to be said for that.